Hi there, welcome to Cocktail Mode, the podcast where me, Andy, and my mate Dave pick a retro game and try and pair it with a cocktail. Today's game is the absolute classic vertical shooter, Ikaruga. You may know it from the GameCube or the Dreamcast or the arcade. Unusually for us, actually staying on topic for the most part. In case anybody listening doesn't know, this is a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up that is one of the earliest games to use a polarity system. So you can sometimes shoot black, you can sometimes shoot white, the enemies are sometimes black and they're sometimes white, and it builds on its mechanics from there. 2001, this came out on my birthday.
Really?
In the arcade. If you're a regular listener, you'll know that our version of retro involves the turn of the century. So anything in the 20th century we consider retro, anything in the 21st we don't. Ikaruga came out in 2001, but if you listen back to my specific definition of our rules for retro, it's the hardware had to be released in the 20th century, which basically draws the line at the Game Boy Color and the Dreamcast, but rules out the Game Boy Advance and the PlayStation 2.
Even though the game came out in arcades in 2001.
Doesn't matter. It's not the rule, Dave. Lots of people think it was the first game to have this sort of polarity-switching mechanic, but there's at least one earlier that I know of. You, Dave, know any others?
One of the treasure games called Silhouette Mirage, which isn't a shoot 'em up. It's a sort of side-scrolly, platformy looking thing that I didn't play because it looked shit.
I thought it looked great.
Yeah.
To the extent that I've got a couple of watches on eBay for it, and it's going to cost me about 70 quid, I think.
Is that what you were looking at?
Yes. So what I thought looked really interesting about that is when you walk left, because it's red and blue in this, when you walk left to right, you're blue, and right to left, you're red. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that sounded really interesting. So that's going to be like 97, I should imagine.
Yeah, 97 I think was right.
Which means it predates not only Ikaruga, but its spiritual predecessor, Radiant Silvergun.
Yes. Ikaruga, when it was in development, was referred to as Project RS2.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
There's sort of a loose idea that it might have been part of a planned trilogy.
Oh, okay. But
as far as I'm aware, a third game never came out.
I knew they were possibly related because of the end boss is the same.
Yeah.
It's got a strange name, hasn't it? Stone-like. And it's basically the source of all the bad guys' power. The sort of the rabbit hole of what may or may not be the Shinto Buddhist iconography and perhaps meanings behind it talks a lot about it. It's almost like the bad guy is almost weaponizing religion, putting together a religious ideology with a military ideology, and that's kind of what they're fighting against. And that the village of Ikaruga, where they give him the ship called Ikaruga, is sort of a more purist type of Buddhism, and so it's one against the other. It's trying to wrest back that, because both sides, both the good guys and the bad guys, lots of Buddhist iconography on the ships and the weapons and that. So it's really quite fascinating. I'm just trying one particular entry on Ikaruga on GameFAQ. We're going to get it name checked early, so I don't have to keep on saying it over and over again. Who was Phone 404? That's WHOWASPHONE 404. It's a really interesting guide. I should say, have gone into quite a lot of depth about the potential meanings of some of the iconography in the game. Really quite fascinating. Lots of stuff about Buddhism and Shintoism and all this sort of stuff. Really, I found it fascinating. So I want to thank him for that straight off the bat. Sorry, him, them, her, who knows. But yes, a good read. I recommend it.
I'll have a look at that.
And was a bit of started off in a bit of a rabbit hole for me that I had to dig myself out of quite quickly. Otherwise I would never have actually played the game. But yeah, the actual plot is more or less your last best hope. Off you go. Big bad guys.
Guy gets shot down, nursed back to health by the people in the village. Give him shit.
Call the ship Ikaruga. Whatever, I don't care. I call it Ikaruga. I'm calling it Ikaruga.
Ikaruga. I'm going to pronounce it every possible way you can, and then edit back when I find out the definitive one. No, I've always called it Ikaruga. I will always call it Ikaruga. That's interesting that the village is called Ikaruga because there is a real place called Ikaruga.
Yes, I read this.
The town of Ikaruga is home to two ancient Buddhist temples. There may actually be a link to it. Probably should have read up a bit more on this.
No, as I say, this is one of those things that it's just I happened to find this one GameFAQ entry and just went down this rabbit hole. When you start down that rabbit hole, it's a deep one. It is, and it's really, really interesting. And the idea of samsara. Did you get to the end of the game?
I did, yes, I did finish it.
Did you coin spam your way to the end of the game?
No, I did it in one credit. No lives lost. Piece of piss. I don't know what all the hoo-ha's about. And I finished Dark Souls the first time I ever played it without dying.
Do you know what? We're going to come back to that because I'm going to bring up Dark Souls at some point in this. And
don't think you can't bring up Dark Souls when talking about Ikaruga.
But yes, the whole Buddhist angle on Ikaruga is 100% there. Its actual meaning requires some interpretation, but there's no hiding from the fact that it's there. Do you know how many shoot 'em ups must there be where the game starts with your little ship being fired out of a bigger ship? It must be like 90% of them. Right? It's like the beginning of everything. That's how it starts.
I think more than anything, that is a harkening back to things like the early Gundam series and Macross.
Right.
Because there's always a single ship or mech or whatever coming out of a larger carrier type vessel.
Yes.
I think that's part and parcel of sci-fi in general, especially Japanese sci-fi.
Like Thunderbird 4.
Yep. Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, you name any sci-fi, it's a staple of the genre.
Yeah, so the reason I mention it is, the ship that you're fired from at the beginning is the Sword of Akala, which is very definitely a Buddhist thing. So it's not, I think if you know Japanese and you know Buddhism, you'd be listening to this going, well, fucking duh.
You'd also be screaming at our pronunciation of everything.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, apologies to anybody who does speak Japanese to this entire episode. But yeah, the reason I asked you whether you'd seen the end, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the end, you basically sacrifice yourself, and it hints that you are reborn as a mottled dove, like Ikaruga.
Ah.
Did you get that?
Is that the flock of birds that are flying at the end sequence then?
Yeah.
Right.
Again, that's my interpretation. Because you sacrifice yourself. And Buddhism is the whole...
Yeah, very reincarnation based, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So reincarnated again as the mottled dove itself. Not just in name, but also in nature. But anyway, I think it's worth looking into that sort of thing if that sort of thing interests you. If it doesn't, I mean, let's talk about video games. How much of this had you played before this week or this 2 weeks? No, 2 weeks, yeah.
I played some of it back in the Dreamcast days. I didn't own it. I can remember not having it. I may have had a demo. I don't think I've ever seen it in an arcade, but I did have a chance at one of the retro arcade events that I used to go to in Leicester of having a play. And I got to know the guy who ran those events quite well, to the point where I could just say to him, do you mind if I turn your TV on its side and play it with the screen flipped? He was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll join you. And that was brilliant. That was the first time I'd ever played it 2-player. And it's the first time I've ever played it in like nicely rotated screen mode. And that was fantastic. But yeah, that's pretty much the sum of the original like Dreamcast release. I've had it on Steam for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Up until this week, I'd probably played about 4 hours.
Right.
I had played it through because the achievements that you've got show on the screen as you're playing the Steam version. It's got the nice sort of edges where the screen is vertical in the middle.
Yeah.
So it gives you sort of, readouts and things that you've got. And so my achievements on the left were the first and second boss and the 5th.
Right.
Not the 3rd and 4th. I've since got those this week. And I can understand why, because they're bastard hard.
Is this because one of the weirder mechanics of the game is where you get 100 seconds to kill the bosses, and if you don't, they just bugger off?
Yeah, there is a passive mode for all of the bosses.
I think the whole game, it is technically possible to beat it without firing a shot.
Yeah.
You can get to the end of the game without shooting at all, which is just bonkers. It's just madness. I mean,
think that's genius.
Well, it is. It's brilliant, but also it speaks to how obsessive people get about vertical shooters and shooters in general. Because on the face of it, if you play it like most other games, but like most other vertical shooters, bullet hell in particular being a subgenre, if you don't know, bullet hell game is much more about avoiding patterns of your enemy's fire than a normal shmup, which is about shooting down whilst avoiding much smaller amounts of enemy fire. Basically, there's always lots of other stuff in there. So if you can imagine in Ikaruga that you can sometimes have a screen full of bullets, some are black, some are white, so you don't have to avoid all of them, you have to avoid half of them. But there's layers of complication in Ikaruga, one of which I didn't even know about until I started playing this week.
What's that?
Is it the rule of 3 that it has?
You didn't know about that?
I had no idea.
Really?
I literally, my game time with Ikaruga, I had a copied version of it for my Dreamcast originally, which when I found out that is going to murder your laser, I just had to replace my laser. So there's some truth in that, it seems. I stopped playing it, but I'd sort of played it and maybe played the first level and maybe the second level a bit, and I never knew that was a thing because it doesn't tell you.
Well, it does. For every third enemy you shoot of the same colour, it does come up with chain.
Yes.
1 chain, 2 chain, 3 chain. So it's there to be seen, is whether or not you spot it.
Yeah, Japanese disc has a tutorial mode that will tell you that.
In Japanese.
In Japanese. So yeah, anybody who went through my phone, pictures on my phone at the minute would go, why have you got lots of pictures of a TV on its side with some Japanese text on it?
Google Translate for all of them.
Oh, it's
presumably.
a wonderful thing, yeah. Absolutely.
I want a live overlay that translates things in real time.
You can pretty much do it with a phone.
Yeah, but you can pretty much do it with a phone. That's not what I want.
No,
I want
you
an
want
exact,
actual,
proper piece of software that reads the screen and translates it.
It's not far away, I promise you.
I'm sure it already exists somewhere.
Yeah.
It must do.
So yeah, I played it. Ikaruga I realised, more something I loved the idea of than loved as a game until we started.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'd played bits of it and I'd never really got into it. I'd never really properly got stuck into it to play it and try and beat it until this last 2 weeks. So I say this rule of 3 thing, that was, so yeah, as Dave said, if you shoot 3 white enemies and then another 3 white enemies and then 3 black enemies and then 3 white enemies and that's how, and you build up a chain by doing that. And it adds to your multiplier considerably. And this is a game that is designed to be replayed, obviously, because I just played it through and beat it in less than an hour and a half. And this is one of those things. If you say to somebody, like, I paid nearly £100 for my Dreamcast copy a few months ago, and if you say, well, you played that for a game that you can beat in an hour and a half, it has taken me a week to play that game. At least 7-8 hours of like actual game time. It doesn't count just having the disc in the machine and the game on. You have to be playing it. So it's taken me at least 8 hours to do it. And the only reason I did it is because after 7 hours you activate free play mode rather than running out of continue. So I got to level 5 using 9 continues.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think it's okay. The most annoying.
I'm trying to think of what I've done.
The most annoying thing for me is I know that I can technically get through level 2, so into level 3 on 1 continue. Technically, probably on 1 life, but I've never put it together.
Yeah, I could do the first level without losing a life.
I can do the first level without losing a life.
I don't always, but I can.
Exactly, and I've done the second level without losing a life. I've never put the 2 together, so I've never done it. And most of the time, I can just about get onto level 3 with 1 continue, which is 5 lives. Level 4 is one of the hardest levels in a video game I've ever played in my entire life.
Are you thinking of a bit in particular?
Just all of it. Because the whole level is pretty much one boss, isn't it? And the whole thing, it's that whole big rotating thing, and it's oh god, brutal. And then the boss is brutal, and it's just brutal. But I managed to get through that with my 9 continues, but didn't get very far into level 5, which is surprising because level 5 actually not that difficult. Even though I had free play, once I got into level 5, I think I only used 1 more continue to get through it, spamming it, because I don't think it is that difficult. There's a lot of attrition because there's 2 bosses. The first one's got 3 levels, and then the final one is just slog. Oh, and then the final one you can't shoot at.
Yeah, I love that middle one of those 3 that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I love when you figure that out. I don't think there's another boss in games that makes you feel like you've really got it. You've really understood the assignment.
Yeah.
because it's. I mean, we're jumping ahead quite a bit as we usually do, but that boss in particular, the pseudo last boss, is the first enemy in the entire game that does what you do.
Yeah.
It shoots a homing set of shots and then flips to the other polarity and then does it again and then flips and then does it again, then flips and then does it again. And once you've got the timing of change polarity, absorb the shot, fire it back, change polarity, shoot, it's brilliant. But you have to move around and dodge other fire at the same time. It's one of those games that when you start to get it and when you start to do what you have to do, and you're not died for a little while, it feels really, really, really rewarding. But it has scaling difficulty. Have you noticed this?
I noticed that if you do something particularly quickly, you get extra enemies to beat.
Yeah, if you haven't died for a while on some of the bosses and some of the areas, it starts throwing in extra bullets and extra things to try and kill you, as if it wasn't fucking hard enough already.
Yes. You just mentioned the absorbing bullets on that boss, which we haven't mentioned yet. So this is another factor of the polarity thing. So basically you're black and you're white, and the enemies are either black or white. And it's kind of black with a red tinge or white with a blue tinge. It just helps you really recognise very quickly what's what.
I watched a video the other day and somebody kept referring it as blue and red rather than black and white. And how have you never read anything about this game to know it's black and white? I guess he's looking at the edges rather than the stuff in the middle, but it's so obviously black and white because the enemy ships are black and white.
Yeah.
That's what they fire at you.
Yeah, no, it's black and white that it's black and white.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the absorbing thing, so you're basically, if you shoot a white enemy when you are white, its shots will also be white and you can absorb them. You don't have to avoid them. And if you play on anything higher than easy mode, when you destroy it, it unleashes a little volley of shots that you can also absorb. And I found it because of that. I found normal mode easier than easy mode.
I've never played it on easy.
So basically, the only difference I could tell for the little bit of I played of it is they don't do that. So you shoot an enemy, your ship is coloured white, you shoot a white enemy, as they die, they sort of explode into a shower of, I guess, shrapnel, really, and that can hurt you. But if you are still white, when it hits you, you absorb it and it powers your special weapon. When you're playing on easy mode, they don't do that, so your special weapon doesn't power up as quickly. So you haven't got your little get out of jail free card.
And that's interesting.
Yeah, and so weirdly, I found the normal mode easier than easy mode because of that. And I think it helps as well to sort of get it into your mind, because I think there's a lot of when you first play it, it's getting used to just the whole concept. As you learn it, you need to sort of pick a thing and try and remember it. So pick that, you won't die if you're black and you hit a black bullet, and remember that for a bit, and then think about absorbing the extra bullets to power your special weapon, and then maybe think about the rule of threes to get your score up. Yeah, I found that halfway into level 2 I gave up on the score chasing completely.
Most people do.
Is that right?
I was reading the thing earlier and it's saying that basically they designed the first level to very much guide you down the path of, right, if you shoot these guys, then these guys, then this guys, that's the optimal playthrough. But they very specifically decided from level 2 onwards that they would really mix it up, so you had to find the perfect route rather than be shown it. So it is intentionally obfuscated as to what you're supposed to do, which I love. I think that's awesome. And there's so many little bits in it that you don't really appreciate or even know about until you see someone else do it.
Yeah.
And it comes back to the whole, look, I've taken this week's YouTube viewing as standing watching people in arcades and learning how to play a game, because that's what you used to do, wasn't it?
It was.
You'd see somebody playing a game that you wanted to play and they were much better than you, so you'd watch to see how they did something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, YouTube is the equivalent of that now, I think.
I think so, yeah. I mean, obviously it's not as much fun, and you can't, I guess you can just leave a comment to congratulate people. I didn't do that. I figured it all out for myself. And that, which is the boss that's the big wheel? Is that level 3?
That's the third one, yeah.
Oh,
with the the things on the spokes that you can hide behind.
Yes.
As it spins around. Yes, I hate that one. That's the last one that I killed for the first time.
Oh, really?
Every playthrough of the game that I ever did until about 2 days ago, I had never killed that boss. It always got to timeout And I probably use about 5 credits every time I fight it. I never quite got it. I never quite figured it out.
My problem with it is that there's just one too many things going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're doing your flip, you're getting fired at in both colours, and there's 4 spokes on this wheel that are turning that you have to avoid at the same time. And it's just, for my brain, my poor little brain, there was just one too many things going on for a long, long time, to the point that the second phase of this enemy is it starts firing great big lasers at you, and I found it easier once it started doing that, because I could absorb the laser and just hammer the special move button and get through.
The thing with those lasers as well, though, is that they physically push you.
Yes, they do.
So when you're trying to sit in a tiny little area and avoid 2 lines of fire from different coloured enemies, to be moved against your will out of that, not pleasant. But brilliant design.
It is fantastic.
There's a section, I think it's level 4, where you're moving quite fast up what feels like a little bit of a trench, and there's a bunch of beams of one colour come out of the wall and push you across.
It's level 3.
If you just fire as you go, you take out all the enemies that are in the way. As you get clear of those beams, you flip to the other colour, and then another set of beams pushes you across the screen again. That's one of my favourite bits of the game. I love that.
And if you resist that, you'll find yourself in the path of bullets that are going to kill you whilst you're in the laser beam of the opposite colour. So you're better off letting yourself get pushed around than that's level 3. And the actual level 3 I like rather a lot. It's just the boss is a dick. I mean, to be fair, other than level 1, you could say that about all of them, couldn't you? They're not bosses there just for appearances, although they all do look brilliant.
It's a masterclass in sadomasochism, Ikaruga.
You've played more shoot-em-ups than me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I found it difficult, but I found it. There was a logic to it that I appreciated, and I think it's always with difficult games. If you die and you go, "What the fuck happened there?" and that's bad game design. This is not bad game design. When you die, you know exactly what happened, and the trouble is you're dead, and you've got to play through half the game to get to that point again and try and remember what it was that happened. So it's definitely not easy, but it's definitely not unfair.
No, I would say it harks back to the design of classic arcade games, much like R-Type. You learn the level, you replay the level over and over and over again, and depending on which version you're playing, you have that option as well.
Yeah.
So I've been playing mostly exclusively on Steam, and that gives you the opportunity to just replay a level. One of the versions, I think might be the GameCube, lets you pick certain bits of a level.
Oh, right.
To replay. So you can just pick a section and loop it and just get really, really good at that bit.
Yeah, my Japanese Dreamcast disc lets you replay a level if you've beaten it, I think perhaps with one continue, because I've got on the sort of, they call it practice, and I can play the first level on practice on easy, because that's as much as I played before I realised that I wanted to play it on the proper mode. The first level on hard, but the first 2 levels on normal. So even though I've got much, much further than that, the only 2 that it lets me practice are the 2 that I got to in a single continue, a single coin, basically, isn't it? That's what it is. It's a credit that gives you on the settings that I've put it on 5 lives. Should standard is probably 3. So there's quite a lot of settings on Ikaruga. One of them on the version I've got lets you say when you get an extra life or an extra continue. I have no idea which, because I never got it.
You pick the points threshold for earning extra lives.
Yeah, 2 million. I've never got it. The lowest one. I've never scored 2 million points. I think about 1.4 is probably my highest continuous score.
Yeah, if you get the full possible chain, I think you can do it at least once on the first level, probably multiple times on preceding levels.
My highest chain is 23.
Oh, that's good.
Best ever. It's level 1.
I abandon it. I know it's there to be done. Yeah. But I just give up and would rather get through a level.
I do it from the beginning until I fuck it up, and then I just stop. It's just a no, can't be bothered with that shit anymore.
We're still on the options for continues and things. The Steam version lets you choose how many continues you've got, how many lives per credit, and the score threshold at which you earn new lives.
Oh, nice.
But your high score doesn't get recorded if you've changed any of those settings.
Oh, really?
Yep, and there is an online leaderboard that can only be accessed through playing with no continues and things.
That's quite good.
And it will save replays of your runs.
Oh, that's very good.
So you can watch your failures over and over again. But if you ever do a perfect run of a level, you've got it.
Absolutely.
Saved. And I think that's fantastic. It's exactly the kind of thing that all these sorts of games should have.
Yeah.
A lot of shoot 'em ups straight out, they've got whatever features they had in them originally, but nothing else is put on top.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a Steam re-release. There's a Steam re-release of Radiant Silvergun,
Yeah.
which I've just picked up for like £6. And I don't know what that's got in it, but I've seen a lot of other games, older shoot 'em ups that have come out, and they're just the original game. That's it. You might get screen rotation options and little bits and bobs like that, but some games don't seem to put much effort into it.
No, it depends on who's behind it, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I've got Ikaruga on the Xbox 360, but I can't remember if there's anything extra in that on it. The Dreamcast game lets you choose up to 5 lives per continue, and then the point at which you get extra lives, but not continues. Continues are unlocked, as I sort of alluded to earlier, by for every hour of actual gameplay you put in, it gives you another continue. So rewarding your bloody mindedness, basically, or your perseverance, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, once you've done 7 hours, you're in free play mode, which I did earlier today, and then I've had a break and came back to it just before we started recording and beat it for the first time. With, I reckon probably, as I say, 9 continues with the previous version. I was on to level 5. I reckon I might have used another 2, maybe 3. So I reckon I probably did it in 12 continues, which is £12, which is a lot cheaper than the disc cost me. So.
Yeah, let's see you do that in an arcade.
Yeah, no.
I tell you what, I'd love to find a cabinet.
Oh, that'd be incredible, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be a great one to have.
The thing with the arcade, because it's a 2-button control setup in the arcade, and you have to press both buttons together to fire the super missile thing.
Yes, that is an option. That is a controller option in the Steam version.
Yeah, and the Dreamcast version.
Weirdly as well, you can play keyboard and mouse.
Really?
Which I did the other day, and it actually isn't bad. It's certainly a lot more comfortable if you're not used to playing on a pad.
Yeah, I guess so. I would hate it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the 2-button thing is, so you've got fire and flip are your 2 buttons. So shoot and change polarity from black to white, white to black. And then both buttons together on the arcade or the traditional is what fires your special weapon, which you charge up by absorbing extra shots. And I found I missed it so often. It was really annoying me. So I was really glad when I figured out that the right trigger on my controller also fired it. Because I can't imagine playing some of those bosses and with that 2-button control screen. That would be even more brutal than it already is.
I want it to be voice activated. I'm going to set up a voice activation thing that does it.
I mean, I imagine that's something that can happen already, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a program that I downloaded when I was into Microsoft Flight Simulator called Voice Attack, which you can macro any combination of anything to voice commands.
Would you call it Super Shoot?
No, just like scream. Just ah! Yeah, just come up with some comedy word like penguin.
Penguin.
You're just sitting there, tap, 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 tap. Penguin! Everybody think you got Tourette's.
There's certain points in the game where it really hits you with lots of enemy fire, particularly continuous lasers that charge you up really quickly. So much
beam
fun.
Weapons and the lightning thing.
Yeah.
Are the real killers.
That level 3, which is mostly almost trench running on pretty much the whole level. Well, it's certainly, each level starts with an introduction that isn't technically in the level yet. And the level 3 one, I'm pretty sure, is longer than some entire levels of other games I've played. It's about half the time you play. But it starts off with like tons of beam weapons. And it's great fun. You don't actually have to shoot. You just sit in the charge and then dip out, hit your super weapon, then dip out into something else. It's great.
Yep.
Really good fun. It's such a simple concept. And on the surface of it, you go, it's a vertical scrolling shooter, and then you've got the black and white shooting things. And then you go, and then there's this, and it just layers on these great mechanics. And I think it's a fantastic game. How do you feel about it?
I love it. I've always very, very highly regarded it. Started to play it last week, I think it was,
Yeah.
and thought, oh God, this is hard. This is so hard. Why is this so hard? It's so difficult. Then I realised it was set to no continues mode.
Right.
Because I obviously wanted to record the high scores and record my runs and
Yeah.
things. So I quickly changed that and started to have fun.
Yes.
Also, as well, I started to watch other people playing it, like various reviews and like in-depth deep dives. And there's one in particular. There's a guy called Phirmth, Phirmth, whose video is titled "I played Ikaruga every day for a year, and all I got was this video essay." Yeah, it's a long video. It's an hour and 12 minutes. It's probably about the same length that this podcast will end up being.
Yes.
But he really goes into it, and it's a really interesting watch. I'd recommend watching it. And some of the stuff that he's figured out, learnt, perfected, developed is like, shit, I didn't even know you could do that. There's a section, I think, in level 2 where you've got like square blocks moving down the screen. It creates like a maze that you have to make your way through.
Yeah.
Some of these you can blow up, some that you can't. Anything physical, if you touch it, you die.
Yeah.
But there's a section where you move off to either side and there's bullets coming out of turrets.
Yeah.
And you just sit in them and absorb them. But they're coming out of the horizontal and the vertical. And he does this like sort of little dodge backwards and forwards to absorb as many bullets as he can to charge up the power shot quicker.
Huh.
I thought, that's fucking genius. Why didn't I think of that? But loads of little bits like that all through the whole game. And it's quite funny. It's a good video.
Yeah, that exact same bit is where I noticed for the first time that you score points by absorbing bullets.
Do you?
Yeah. Because that's a bit that you just.
I've been too busy looking at the screen.
Right, I mean that is 100%. You don't. That's why it's taken. And it wasn't like the first time I got to that bit. It was like the 200th time. But it happened to be sitting there on the left-hand side, just drifting through.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the score was just tricking up. It's not very much, but yeah, for everything you absorb, you get some points for it as well as it helping. So yeah, the whole high score chasing a cult of this game is absolutely insane. Some of the scores that exist are mind-boggling.
Some of them are quite questionable as well.
In what way?
Well, there's a video I was watching the other day that had showing the online leaderboards of I think it might have been the GameCube version.
Yeah.
And the top like 10 were just like 8 zeros.
Oh, okay.
So there's something that's gone on there.
From something I read, I seem to pick up something I was looking at, and sorry I can't show you. I was looking at a thing, and I think somewhere in the 45 millions, I think is where a real high score sits.
Fucking hell.
Which is bonkers. Yeah, so my highest is 1 million. Probably 1,000,002, 1,000,003, something like that, and then it all goes to hell because of this whole chain mechanic. So I imagine the people who get these bonkers scores go through it with one life, absorbing as much as they can, obviously never dying, and building up ridiculous chain combos of 3-shot kills. Just madness.
Do you want to laugh?
Go on then.
I played the game on Steam the other day in what's called dual mode. So you play 2 ships on one controller, and my score for that chapter was 1,527,000.
Christ.
But it's very strange because you're controlling each ship individually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to manage the polarity of them both at the same time, see where they are at the same time, somehow move both sticks in the same direction at the same. Oh, guys. Worth a play once, then never do it again. But that is the way that you build up the highest possible scores. I did mean to play the Steam version, but I haven't. I played it the whole week. I've played on my... It's good. Yeah, I can imagine. It's very good. And apparently it runs very, very well on like really old hardware as well. It's been very well optimized. It's beautiful on the Dreamcast. I'm playing it on a SCART cable on a 15-inch Sony Triniton CRT, sat very close to it, and it looks beautiful. But yeah, it's... I thought I'd broken my telly. I've tried to do Tarte mode with CRTs before, and on 2 occasions blown them up. So I was very, very careful with doing it this time. Yeah. And I thought I'd broken something, because when it started, I was like, oh, fuck, the sound's gone wrong. It don't sound right. And it's because it's sitting on the speaker.
So the speaker is currently sitting flush against a big metal bracket, so it got a bit muffled. So we've been playing with headphones ever since then, which was a godsend, because God, it's great. And the last level music is spectacular, as all last level music should always be in video games. So it was a blessing in disguise, really. It's still over there on its side.
Creaking. You mentioned music. There's some of the best music in this kind of game.
I don't play a lot of shoot 'em ups. It's weird that
they're all kind of samey. They're always quite similar, but the Ikaruga soundtrack is very, very good.
It's kind of odd that shoot 'em ups definitely more your thing than mine, but I chose Ikaruga. But I chose it because, as I say, I found what is, believe it or not, particularly reasonably priced Japanese one and bought it fairly recently, and just thought it a great opportunity to do an episode.
How much did you pay for it, just out of interest? Because I've seen ones as low as £70.
Yeah, I think it was that plus shipping from Japan. I mean, so it was around
That's
about
not
that.
bad.
Yeah, so it was pretty good, and it is absolutely pristine as well. It's not new and sealed, because what would be the point? Because I'm going to unseal it immediately to play the damn thing. But yes, it's absolutely pristine. It's great. It's got all the gubbins in it that I can't read because it's all in Japanese.
Mm-hmm. Have you got the Switch version?
I don't think so.
Apparently that plays quite well rotated.
Yeah, no, it's bound to, isn't it? It's a really great, it's a great ratio for it.
Actually, give the Steam version a try on your Steam Deck. That should work pretty well.
Yeah, no, it's a good shout. It's downstairs at the minute. Actually, I was about to look for it to see what the control layout would be like, because I hadn't played many, certainly not, but I don't really like bullet hell games. It's a miracle that I guess the whole polarity switching thing just intrigued me enough to get into Ikaruga. But
I think if you're going to dip your toe, Ikaruga is definitely a good one.
I had a quick go on Radiant Silvergun on MAME, which runs okay. It says sort of imperfect but running, and I saw no issues. I love the way it looks. It's got a very PlayStation era look about it, very sort of
early 3D.
Yeah, looks fantastic. Just absolute. I can't get my head. There's so much going on screen. And I think it's almost, to me, like as soon as because Ikaruga is just black and white, so you've only got two things to think about. It just makes it so much easier for my brain to deal with. Something like Radiant Silvergun, where all the enemies are multicolored and it's just. And there's shots coming at you from every angle, and then a billion shots. Because I think as much as Ikaruga is bullet hell, from my limited experience, it's a lot kinder than some of these games are.
Yeah, it is. It only really earns the bullet hell thing in some of the boss fights, where the polarity switching and crossing like beams one colour and then another and flipping in between. That's when it really kicks in. Did you find with Radiant Silvergun all the various control methods, the firing modes?
It comes up on the what's it called, the attract mode in the arcade version, and it's like, my God, I can't remember all that. That's insane.
It's 3 buttons.
Yeah.
And every combination of each 2 buttons does something different. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that is very cool.
I bought it on Steam because the few minutes I played on MAME the other day, I thought, no, I want a better version of this.
Yeah.
Because it's fine. Yeah, the version of MAME is obviously the original recreation.
Yeah.
But the Steam version, it's only got to add 1 or 2 extra options like the Ikaruga port, and that'll be worth a good few hours.
Well, it's the same company, isn't it? So it should be as Ikaruga. That's interesting. Radiant Silvergun's on the Switch physical.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Only 30 odd quid as well.
Yeah. If only you had self-control.
Yeah. Jesus. A Saturn version of Radiant Silvergun is 150 quid minimum.
Oof.
So yeah, that's probably not a goer. But I can see a Switch one in my future. That's a very reasonable price. I thought it was a great looking game, but I think R-Type isn't bullet hell, even though bullet hells are normally verticals. No. R-Type isn't, and that's kind of, I love R-Type, played a lot of R-Type and get your head around it, and it's that there is a lot of attacking as well as avoidance, and I think that's where I am. Stuff like, I think, and it tends to be more often than not, but it's certainly not black and white, that horizontal shooters aren't bullet hell and vertical shooters are more likely to be bullet hell. There's certainly a lot more vertical bullet hells than horizontals.
Yeah, I can name a few, but I get your point.
So in terms of, I think, vertical shooters that I've put a lot of time into. I don't think there's another one that I've put anywhere near as much time into as I have Ikaruga, but it does stand apart through these mechanics as being slightly different to the norm.
It does stand apart from all the others, yeah.
As much as I love it, when I played through MAME, so a long time ago now, I played through every game on MAME looking for hidden gems, and I did a blog about them alphabetically, and I reckon most letters there was a vertical shooter that I'd never heard of before, and at the time hadn't been, because it had to have not come out on a home console. That was my own criteria, and I can't remember any of them now off the top of my head. I really can't. I'm not going to go digging around on the blog because it doesn't make good podcast, but they always grab me and I think, oh God, this is really entertaining, and then I start dying a lot and I just give up. And especially bullet hell, I've never been a huge fan of the bullet hell subgenre, but Ikaruga's just got something a bit different and special about it.
I've played a lot of these games. I played a fair amount in arcades, but I think they came into their own when you could sit at home and play a console original or a port of an old arcade game without having to pay.
Yes, well, paying
have to physically throw money into the machine every 20 seconds because you're shit at it. I still quite like it's more a port thing, I guess, where you have limited continues.
Yeah.
I still find that quite a good challenge. And that's one of the reasons I really like the Ikaruga setting where you don't have continues.
Yeah.
It's literally how far can you get on one credit.
Yeah.
It's something that I think is missing from a lot of games, like an inbuilt difficulty. Like the game itself is no harder, but there's that added thing of you can't just continue.
Yeah. I feel quite proud of myself for having beaten Ikaruga with the set of rules that the Dreamcast version gave me, which is that you start off with, I think, 3 continues, and then you get another one once you've played it for an hour, and then another one. And I beat it using that criteria. I would have loved to have done it with 9 continues, because that's the last number before it gives you free play. And I think that is probably within my skill set. 9 continues, just with a healthy dose of luck
on a good day, with the wind in the right direction.
And I've had a lot of coffee. I think that's within, but I feel quite good. I'd say it was only that last go that I did just before we started recording was the only one I'd done free play. I'd done before, so I'd got a long way, and so I'm proud of myself for doing that. But I think 1 continue is something that I don't think is in my skill set to beat the game on 1 continue.
I think if I played nothing else, I might crack it within a year or 2. But the idea of playing nothing but Ikaruga horrifies me. As much as I love it, the idea of playing any one game,
no, absolutely,
and nothing else horrifies me.
My final playtime, and it is playtime where you can't just leave a disc spinning and go and have your dinner. It don't count. 7.5 and a bit hours to beat the game. So after 7 hours you get free play. So it's not insignificant that that's the point at which I finally beat it. But it's that whole thing. I sat and did it in less than an hour and a half and played through the entire game. But that's not the point, is it? It's the effort, and then getting better and then getting higher scores. And I think the community that creates, it's great, because I think it's there and people still sharing high scores for this game 25 years later, still trying to do better, still sharing tactics, but also it is a bit of an echo chamber. And I saw in my research around the internet people asking very reasonable questions. So I think that the one that sticks in my memory in particular is there an easy way to spot the hitbox in this game?
The hitbox is tiny.
Yes.
I've seen very, very, very zoomed in instances of your ship basically passing through something and not getting hit. The hitbox in the middle of your avatar, whatever you want to call it, is very small. In a lot of bullet hell games, it actually shows it. So there'll be like a certain part of the ship that is the hit zone. Ikaruga, I think it's the middle of the ship, I guess.
I tend to go for the spot on your ship just behind because you fire 2 shots most of the time other than your first shot. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. But you're firing a chain of 2 bullets, and I picked the spot just behind where they're coming out of on the body of the ship. If you don't play these games, the ship itself isn't what gets hit by the bullets. There'll be a point on the ship that is the hitbox, which means if a bullet hits that part of it, that's when you get shit. So you get bullets passing, they look like they're passing through you, but they're actually sort of going past, and it only counts if they hit whatever is designated as the hitbox for the particular game you're playing. I think it's usually, in my experience, the cockpit of the craft, which because it shows up as blue or a different colour. It's not that clear on Ikaruga, and I saw somebody in there basically saying, you know what, if I had one complaint about this game, it's that the hitbox isn't very clear, and basically getting bullied immediately by the fan base going, get good. Really? It's obvious where it is, and don't be. It's all part of the game. It's not a mistake. It's done on purpose, and it's just everyone. It's this whole brutally defensive community around this game, and it is. I couldn't find a name for it. I thought there must be a name for this type of bias, and I think it's when something is difficult and you find you are good at it. You think that thing is then better than maybe it is. Say I'm brilliant at football. Spoilers, I am not brilliant at football. But say I'm brilliant at football, then so I start to believe that football is the greatest thing that a human being can achieve. Because you are good at something, you think it is better than it is. So just because it's like me saying that because what am I good at? Well, flashback. I love flashback anyway.
Yeah, you could complete it in 17 minutes, can't you?
Yeah, 4.5 on a good day. Listen to the flashback episode if you want to understand that in-joke. I'm quite good at flashback, so it's like me saying flashback is the best game ever made. It is brilliant, and I'm brilliant at it, therefore I am more brilliant. And it's something you get a lot with the Dark Souls games I've seen.
Yes.
People think because they're difficult and they are good at them, it elevates those games above and beyond where they should be.
Yeah. Also, as well, there's a tendency to shit on anybody who says it's too hard.
Yes.
Once you've mastered the incredibly difficult thing, you turn around and look at everybody who's struggling and just go, oh, you're shit.
Yes.
Well, you were shit when you started, pretty sure.
It's like those pricks on the road who drive right up the arse of learner drivers.
Yes. Yeah, it's whether or not you've taken the time, it's whether or not you've put the effort in to get good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, driving's a really good example, actually.
Yeah.
How many people have you ever met that say they're not a very good driver? Everyone's an amazing driver. It's just all those other idiots on the road that crash.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think there seems to be, sadly, the community of Ikaruga, the hardcore community, for lack of a better term, pricks, mostly, it seems. Sorry if anyone's listening, but yeah, just be nice. People are learning. Get them on board. Don't scare them away. So we mentioned briefly just now Silhouette Mirage.
Yes.
Which I think, from my brief bit of research, is probably the first game with any sort of dual colour, polarity switching, whatever you want to call it, mechanic to it. I can't find another one, and I certainly don't know of another one. You think of anything before that, 97?
It's not a mechanic I've got a lot of experience with. Ikaruga's obviously the poster boy for it. I hadn't even heard of Silhouette Mirage until this week.
Me neither.
And I can't think of any other games that have it, to be fair. I've probably got a few. It's not something I remember. It's not something I take away from a game. It's like a particular thing like that. Unless it's a really standout thing, like in Ikaruga.
Yeah.
But because Ikaruga does it, I don't remember it in any other game because it's already been done better elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% been done in other games, but I don't think it's been picked up quite as much as maybe you would expect it to, because it does work very, very well, and as a concept it's great, but I don't think I would expect it to almost been like a subgenre by now. More than 25 years after Silhouette Mirage, 25 years after Ikaruga, I would expect it to have picked up and used. The one that I remember, I think it's from the Xbox 360 days, one came out called Outland, which is a 2D platformer that uses it extensively as well, and that's blue and orange, and that's a fabulous game. It's really, really good. It's very stripped back, very stylized, and I think again because of that it helps your eyes do the polarity switching thing. To me it was like Ikaruga happened, and then when was it, 2011, 2010, 2011, this happened, and between the two it's like, people forgot about this mechanic. I don't think that's the case. I think there must be more games out there. Must be.
I think Ikaruga did it so well that probably nobody ever thought to do it again.
I suppose so. There are bits of the Mexican-themed Metroidvania.
Guacamelee?
Guacamelee, yes. that's some of that is a little bit. It's not fully down that, but it definitely gets a vibe. But other than that, I can't really think of any others, and I feel like I should. I've got a funny feeling there might have been something on the DS or the 3DS that was of a similar kind of idea.
Yeah, I've undoubtedly played something else. I must have along the line.
Yeah,
I variously try and play and buy sometimes shoot 'em ups just on a whim. I just see, better go shoot 'em up that I haven't played. I'll give it a go. Every game's got a gimmick. Every game's got something new, something different, or they take what's been done before and they do something else with it. Like it runs backwards or something. There's always that one thing that makes it that game.
It's got to stand out, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's exactly the same as every other vertical shoot 'em up.
Yeah, but the interesting thing with Outland is it's created by Housemarque, who made the Stardust games, Stardust, Super Stardust. Got a really big legacy and a catalogue of games, but it includes the Reap, which is the diagonally scrolling shooter where you play as the bad guy that I've mentioned before. The more recent games, Returnal, Matterfall, Next Machina, so there was Resogun as well, was quite big news a little while back. So yeah, they did Outland, which I think was digital only, so I wonder how easy it is to actually get anymore.
It's worth pointing out, Ikaruga is only £7 when it's full price on Steam.
Wow. If you're listening to us, get yourself to Steam and buy that game. £7 is a ludicrous amount of money for a game the quality of Ikaruga. It's utterly brilliant.
It's well worth it. It's one of the only 2 games I've ever reviewed on Steam as well.
Another game like Ikaruga that I've forgotten about, there's the Fast series of games, which are, I think, still exclusive to Nintendo consoles. They started on the Wii, and they're very much of a Wipeout, F-Zero kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Racing games. And they're the thing where you can sort of flip polarity, and if you run over parts of the track when you're a certain polarity, you get boost, so you have to flip from one to the other. They play brilliantly. They're really solid games, those. So I think that's well worth noting. Exceed 2.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, apparently that plays exactly like Ikaruga.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got Exceed. Yeah, I've got Exceed, Exceed 2, and Exceed 3. Exceed 3rd, as it's called, or to give it its full title, Exceed 3rd Jade Penetrate Black Package.
I mean, for God's sake.
The original Exceed was called Gun Bullet Children, which isn't good.
No, it really isn't.
But yeah, they're quite good.
I would like to, just for a second, distance us. Yeah, as we have mentioned, Exceed 2nd Vampire and its potential Ikaruga similarities. I just want to distance us from the artwork, because it's that horrible underage girl looking nastiness that unfortunately tends to go hand in hand with certain Japanese games. Not interested in that, and has rarely got anything to do with the actual gameplay of the games either. So it's just a bit.
Thing is, with a lot of this stuff, it doesn't always come up in the game.
No.
It's the artwork that accompanies it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember like the cover of Barbarian 2 with Maria Whittaker and Wolf from Gladiator?
Yes.
Fucking, the game had no bearing on that at all.
No, it didn't. But at least Maria Whittaker was a very full-grown woman.
Yes, that's true.
There is that. But anyway, let's move away from that grubbiness.
Yeah.
I don't know what onto. This is the only shoot 'em up that I can think of. As I say, I've played quite a few, never to any great extent, but I've played quite a few. I can't think of another shoot 'em up where you actively don't shoot things because you're so busy flipping polarity to survive. If you shoot stuff and it's spitting fire at you and you've flipped to the other colour, then you've made it harder for yourself. Again, coming back to that level 4, which is basically one great big long boss fight. It's just a brutal amount of avoidance, so the amount of time I spent not killing stuff was a little bit mad, really. Sitting in a safe zone, just hoping that I can switch quick enough from one to the other. Which is another thing that was one of the first things that hit me when I started playing it again for the first time in probably 20 years, if not 15, is that it's not instant, is it? It takes a tiny fraction of a second to flip, but it's a tiny fraction enough to catch you out.
You can die having pressed the button.
Yeah, it probably is like 0.2 of a second, if that, because it rotates. It is an animation, and if the animation isn't complete, then yeah, you ain't done. You're not the other colour yet.
Tough shit, buddy.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what I did find. I found somebody had created a 3D model, like in isolation, of the Ikaruga ship that you could, on the online viewer, you could rotate and look at it however you want, because obviously most screens, even on a big screen, it's still bloody tiny.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to have a proper good look around and rotate it at will and see how it was, how it looked. It was quite a nice find.
Is it on sketchfab.com?
That was it. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, looking at it now. That's glorious. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's a good thing in the Steam version. I think they call it the appendix, which has got like loads of information and sketches and concept art and wallpapers and things.
Yeah, my Japanese version has that. I think it is called the appendix on there as well. Shout out to somebody who uses Sketchfab. Their username is Tromac. Beautiful model of the Ikaruga.
Tell you one thing I did accidentally do the other day. I started a single player game as player 2,
Oh yeah.
which uses the other ship.
Yes.
The Geniki, I think it's called, or something.
Something along those lines. Yeah, I've only read about it. I have never actually seen it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I started playing the game and thought, what? Something's wrong. I can't tell what's wrong, but something's wrong. It doesn't look right. And it was just after I'd finished it, and I wondered if I'd accidentally unlocked a different ship or something. Then I suddenly realised it came up player 2 score.
Yeah.
Because a lot of games, player 2 just plays the same thing, don't they?
Yeah, different colour, isn't it?
Yeah, usually. Player 2 is technically another character who's a converted mercenary who worked for the opposition.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I read the plot synopsis enough to know that I should never read the plot synopsis ever again.
So much plot for so little plot.
That makes no difference. What's the entire plot of R-Type? Can you remember?
Blast off and strike the evil Guido Empire.
Yeah, that's it.
Word for word, the entire plot of R-Type.
One of the things I did that came up on Wikipedia, which you may have heard of, was that the Dreamcast and GameCube versions sold 33,860 physical units in Japan. That's not a lot of copies.
No, there really isn't.
This is a proper cult classic, isn't it? It's the definition of a cult classic. Something that didn't sell well on its release, but has gathered a reputation and gathered a following over the years.
No, absolutely. I think there is something about shooters, vertical shooters, horizontals, where they age particularly well. I think because, obviously there's newer, fancier ones. There's like, what's a quite recent one I played that looks lovely, lots of depth and stuff. Cinemora is a fabulous game.
I've got that. 2 versions of that on Steam.
Yes. Yeah,
there's an EX version, whatever that means.
You were forced to get it, weren't you? As if you owned the first one, they forced you to get EX.
Oh yeah, that's a great game.
Fabulous game. But even you take that, which has got lots of very well constructed 3D models, and like any game really from 2011, it still plays exactly the same as, other than its own gimmick mechanics. And we must point out, we don't mean gimmick in a bad way. Gimmick is neither good nor bad. You can have bad gimmicks, you can have good gimmicks, but you need a hook, shall we say. So whatever its own hook is, it's neither here nor there. But the game itself, lovely 3D 2011 era graphics, but it still plays like a horizontal scrolling shooter.
The core element of these games is when they're good and they're made well, they stand the test of time very well.
Yeah. Did you ever play Tenkamori Shooting?
Tenkamori Shooting? No.
So this is basically like Bishi Bashi Special, but everything's a shoot 'em up.
Oh, okay.
Very cool game. Available on MAME. I think it's sort of arranged as a tower that you ascend, but every little mini game that you come across is a type of shooter.
I don't have it, so no, I've never played it.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's all you need to know, really. Bishi Bashi Special, but everything's a shmup.
Fair enough. I like the sound of it.
Going back to Ikaruga, what's your favourite bit of the whole game?
The bit where it says, "You did really well, Dave. Thanks for playing." Spoilers, it doesn't do that, because it didn't. I don't know, I'm hard pressed. I think the one and only time I managed to beat the third boss is probably the proudest I've been. Actually, no, I know exactly what my favourite bit in the entire game is. There's a section where you're moving through a trench, and there's a bit where you get chased by like I don't know, it sort of turns out to be like a mini boss or something.
It looks almost like a fish, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. That whole section is very, very good, but there's a bit of that where you have to position yourself quite high up the screen, and there's this like solid wall of ships that come up from the bottom, and you just have to weave left and right between them. And the first time I did that without getting hit, that felt amazing. Because I remember looking at that the first time I ever got to that bit and just panicked and died to the first thing that came on the screen. But now I know how to do it. Every time I get to it, like, hey, here we go. Watch this.
I can one up that exact same moment. It's not my favourite moment of the game, but I did feel a sense of immense satisfaction that has just been multiplied a little bit when I realised that if you pick exactly the right spot, you don't have to move at all, and they all just fly past you. Yeah, do about the hitbox thing. You can put your hitbox in between, and they just all cruise past. And then once they're all past, you can basically, because there's white from the top and black from the bottom, and they collide with each other, so they just destroy each other.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So you sit at the bottom of the screen. Once you found the right spot, you just sit there and let all the chaos unfurl in front of you.
No, that's no fun.
If you want to build your multiplier, you can just sort of shoot the black ones, because it's the black ones coming past. So you can just, as they come past, you can just pick them off, and so you can build up as much combo as you want. I did enjoy when I figured that out, because I think that section is great. That whole, you're right, that's because it's got the bit where the walls are closing in and they form like a trench run that you have to weave in and out of.
But it forces you up the screen as well.
Yes.
Which is anathema to most bullet hell shoot players. They're like, nope, I will not move from this bit at the bottom of the screen.
That's level 3, and I think other than the boss, which I hated, I think level 3 might be my favourite level of the game.
Yeah, I do love the end boss, like we said, the sort of middle section of the boss where it shoots back at you your own homing thing, and you have to switch, shoot the homing thing, switch, absorb, shoot, switch while dodging other stuff. And if you can get it right and the timing of it right, it feels amazing. I love that bit.
Yeah. There are moments in the game when you're in that moment, in that flow, and picking it off. I actually had it on that 3rd level boss that I hate so much, because as the wheel turns, it's passing past sort of alternate black and white guns at you who are firing at you whilst it's spinning, and there's a spokes in the middle that are spinning either faster or slower, and sometimes in the opposite direction. And there was a point where I was going just flipping black, white, just to stay alive while shooting and winning, and it just feels fantastic. It really does. It just, you feel like a shmup god for those 4 or 5 seconds until you die. But,
you've only got to get through a small section of that once, and that gives you the idea. That sort of fills in the rest of your mind, where it's like, oh shit, I need to do that from the start. I need to put myself in a position where I can switch black to white while shooting the things as they go round, using the homing thing as and when it can do the most damage. And there's always that moment in a lot of the levels and a lot of the bosses where you figure it out. It might take a few deaths to get there. You might get it on your first go, but is it the 2nd level boss where it's got 2 sort of covers that you shoot that come out, and then you have to move yourself right into it to shoot it point blank? That's brought me back to R-Type with that first boss. That thing of chucking the force in to do the boss basically in the face. I felt like the force at that point. I've been forced into a place I don't really want to go, but I've got to kill it.
It's good you brought up that boss, because I think that's my favourite boss and perhaps my favourite moment of the game. And I think it's because it's the last part of the game that is fully within my skill set. So I felt the most in control, the most destructive, the most being able to beat it without losing a life, but it's still difficult. Still have to concentrate and still have to make sure I'm doing the right thing at the right time. But figuring out that boss and then putting it all together, and it's a great boss as well. Looks brilliant, and it's just when that come together, it was just like that's nice. Works really well. It's a really well constructed boss, and it's that I think I'm doing that thing that I was talking about earlier, where because I'm good at it, I think it's the best boss in the game. Because the first one's too easy and the third one's too hard, but that one's Mummy Bear's bed. That one, that's it's spot on.
Mummy Bear's bed.
Might as well crack on and do drinks, mate.
I've had a great idea.
What's
I
that?
think you should use. There's a cocktail called the Boss. I think you should use that because we've talked about bosses a lot in this game.
We did talk about bosses a lot. No, I mean, just in case this does remain in the edit, Dave is taking the piss because in the previous episode I used the boss, and then on a subsequent episode I tried to use the boss again, and that didn't make the edit because I felt like a prick.
That was System Shock.
Yes, absolutely. System Shock, we had a lot to cut out, so I had no shame in getting rid of that. That was a long record and a 1.5 hour episode. It's a good one, though. If you've not listened to System Shock yet, we got a guest Rich on there. He's really good. Yes, but on that note, we're on to the subject of cocktails. And Ikaruga and cocktails. What did you dig up, Dave?
So I found 2, as I normally do.
As is your tradition.
Yep, and I found the first one really easily, so that'll be the honourable mention, and it's just a bit of a pun. So it's the black and white daiquiri, in reference to the polarity switching between black and white bullets throughout the game.
Yep.
No effort, but I thought I'd mention it.
Yes.
Actually, it does sound quite nice. So it's 5 fresh blackberries, 45 ml of Malibu, 22.5 ml of light white rum, so Bacardi, 15 ml of creme de mure, 15 ml of lime juice. Creme de mure is a blackberry liqueur, and then 5 ml of sugar syrup. So that sounds quite sweet, quite fruity, quite nice. I'm going to give that a go.
Yeah.
One invented by Mr. Difford, who I think we've mentioned before.
I found this, before you go on, I found this myself. And
Did
was
you?
Put off by basically the Malibu.
Yeah, I quite like Malibu. I love coconut.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of coconut, and Malibu is one of those drinks I had far too much of one time and have never been able to look in the eye since. But yeah, so that kind of put me off, because other than that, I have creme de mure. I actually made my own batch of creme de mure about 5 years ago, and it's still going strong.
Okay.
So, you never use very much of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the Malibu put me off. But other than that, I agree. It sounds really nice.
Yeah.
So what was your actual choice, if that was your honourable mention?
My actual choice, and I kind of picked it just for the name, because it's not a drink I particularly want to drink. And the history of this is such a juxtaposition from Ikaruga that I thought it's kind of hilarious in its own sort of weird polarity way.
Right.
One of the things that I do when I'm playing bullet hell games, and I'm pretty sure most gamers in general do, is you don't blink.
Yeah.
You can't blink because you'll die. So I found a cocktail on Difford's, which is only actually a couple of months old.
Oh.
It was published on the 27th of March 2025 by a guy called Dan Zanelli, and it's called The Hard Stare.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was quite nice. But the story is odd. Okay.
Right.
So I'll give you the details. It's 35 millilitres of Heyman's Old Tom Gin, 25 ml of Heyman's Slow Gin, 10 ml of Barcel Quebranta Pisco, which is like a wine extract, I found out, 25 ml of lemon juice, 2 dashes of orange bitters, 15 ml of egg white, and then a bar spoon of marmalade and a bar spoon of brown sugar syrup. And the marmalade is a clue to the genesis of this drink.
Right. Anything to do with Paddington Bear?
It is to do with Paddington Bear. I won't bore you by reading the quite funny history that's listed against this. But basically, Paddington Bear, when he's annoyed with somebody, gives them, quote unquote, the hard stare. But I thought, as the opposite of a bullet hell sci-fi shoot 'em up, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. I want a drink that's so far removed from my Ikaruga that it makes perfect sense. So that's what I went for. It doesn't sound like a bad drink. It's a lot of gin.
Yeah, that is a lot of gin, yeah.
And I'm not a massive fan, but you'll probably really like it.
Slow gin's a lovely flavour. I don't know what the Pisco's taste like. That's not something I've had, but yeah, I think that sounds good. I think I'd definitely, to coin a phrase of a mate of mine, I'd give it a shot. But yeah, I'll tell you what, give it a shot, interestingly enough, leads me into the story of finding my cocktails. I was really quite keen to find a cocktail that was like 2 colour.
Yes. Yeah, well, that was where I started with the whole black and white thing.
Yeah, and there are so many fucking B-52 type shots that's usually like Kahlua and Baileys or Guinness and Baileys, and they're just vile. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to recommend them to anybody because they're just horrible, and they're shots, not cocktails. So, I was very keen to that. I didn't really find anything else. I did find that black and white daiquiri. There's a black diamond martini also on Difford's, which I made. It's like a sweet espresso martini, with the sweetness coming from, what's the flavour? Chocolate liqueur. But yeah, and it was, it's a nice bit too sweet for me though. So, and it was also kind of tenuous. A long, long time ago, towards the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that I went down the rabbit hole of Buddhism and that whole iconography side of Ikaruga, and I found a drink called the Rabbit Hole, which is also when you make it a two-color cocktail. And I was like, well, this is very serendipitous. I'm grabbing this bad boy.
Spot on.
Weirdly enough, I just found it on Pinterest. I can't find it anywhere else. It looks like somebody has made it themselves and posted it to Pinterest. I'm just looking. I don't Pinterest. It's not a resource that I use. I find it quite annoying because you always have to click through things about 7 times to get to the actual page you're trying to go to.
I always find with Pinterest as well, it's great for finding images of something, but not information.
No, absolutely. Fortunately, the person who posted this originally, whose name I'm sorry I just can't find, maybe down to my Pinterest skills or otherwise, I don't know, but luckily picture has got the directions and the ingredients as text in the image, so it's absolutely perfect. I don't have to go any further other than, unfortunately, I can't credit them. But yes, the rabbit hole is half an ounce of vodka, half an ounce of blackberry liqueur, which is creme de mure again, half an ounce of amaretto, half an ounce of sweet and sour mix, which is a thing you can buy, but you can also just add equal parts sugar syrup, lemon juice and lime juice, and then half an ounce of 7-Up or lemonade or Sprite or whatever you want to do. And as with all drinks of that sort of construction, you shake up those first 4 ingredients, put them in a glass of some ice and top it up with the 7-Up. If you top it up gently with lots of ice, the creme de mure, it makes things very, very black with the vodka, and it all sits at the bottom and has a black layer, and then the ice and the 7-Up or the lemonade sits on top and gives you the white. And it even has a touch of the red about it as well. The image, if you do find it, is a very good representation of how it looks when you make it, which is very much the Ikaruga palette. So I was a big fan of the way that looked, and then I made it and it was bloody delicious.
It sounds nice.
Yeah, unfortunately I used up the last of my amaretto making just one, a little dribble in the bottom of the bottle that was just about half an ounce, so I could only have one, and I was quite annoyed by that because it's been a warm day today and it was really nice. But it looks the part, and I did disappear down a rabbit hole, and I basically been down an Ikaruga shaped rabbit hole for the last week because I've done very little else with my spare time to play this game. So I do think it fits, and I was quite proud of that. I don't have an honourable mention because I say everything I found that was a potential I either made and didn't like or just thought looked a bit crap. So I didn't. But the rabbit hole, go for one of them. Really nice. That's not a particularly bizarre list of ingredients anyway, so most people should be able to have a go at that one. Highly recommended.
I need to get some amaretto, because that's come up a few times.
You can get quite a good amaretto in Aldi, believe it or not.
Yeah, they're quite good with their spirits.
Yeah, what you have to be aware of if you're looking for amaretto is it's one of those things where you quite often see an amaretto style liqueur, which basically this is not amaretto. This is some sugar, some vodka and some flavouring, whereas amaretto's got actual almond extract or whatever in it.
Yeah.
Next time on Cocktail Mode, we'll be doing an Amiga special. It's 40 years old this year, so we're going to spend some time reminiscing about what to me was a very aspirational machine that I didn't own until a long time after it was current.
I'm looking forward to that. You've ever played Speedball 2?
Oh, once or twice, a very long time ago. I think I remember I was pretty good at it.
Oh, that's excellent. We should play that. I've played it once or twice as well.
Yeah, let's see if we can find a way to play that online. And so you'll hear about that next time on Cocktail Mode, where gaming, like alcohol, is in our blood.